Hi, this is Brian Whitaker at Wits End Ranch, and I'm going to do another tack room talk today. I've seen people go to extremes. Like, that's a huge thing right now, right? Extremes. Extremes in the trail riding. I think it's great to get your horse used to different things, but I don't ever want my horse to be so dull that they don't use their good instincts. And if my horse smells something funny, like a bear, and they get a little on high alert, I don't want to just immediately take that out. Now I have to get to the feet because we can't go plowing off on the side of the hill here or something like that. But I want them to know that you think there's trouble. I want you to think about it, but if there's trouble, I want to know. I don't want to come across that bear or that snake. We don't have to worry about that around here. But I guess you never know. So I don't want to make my horse so dull that I have streamers waving in their face and balloons up in their face, and they just go, I don't care about that. I want them to respond. I've told this story before, but I think it's worth telling again. I took Copper out one time. I had this call, a desperate call. Like, I got two cattle out. They just came from out, bought them in the Montana or somewhere, and they had been out in the pasture. They don't know hardly people, and they got out. So I took Copper. Windy day, much like this, but it was November. It was cold. So we went out there, and I thought, well, Copper, it's you today. Hopefully, we'll see how this goes, because really good horse, but can be touchy. Can be a touchy horse. Just not a bad thing, but it can turn into a lot of emotions. So I took him out there, saw the cattle, and they were on this big hill, great big hill. I did not know the area. Most of my area is plowed up fields this time of year. This time of year, November, it's a lot of row crops, so worked up fields, plowed black dirt. Not good conditions to ride a horse through. It's just rough and lots of ruts. And but this particular spot, those cattle were up on this alfalfa field or a hay field some sort. So I thought, well, this would be all right, be pretty good. So I get up there, and the cattle weren't too bad. And I just thought, well, the best thing to do is they were quite a ways from home, is just rope them, riding out there, and you try to ease up to these cattle, but there's a point where it's kind of fight or flight, and they decided to to flee. And there's a point where you have to decide, am I going to just slowly wear them down over a course of a few hours, or do we just kind of have to go get after it and get these roped? Well, I had to get after them, get them roped. But I eased up as much as I could, and as soon as I did, Copper just kicked in. No silliness, just right up there, and it was hard. I had to get close. It was that windy of a day. I had to get my percentage of catching, my catch percentage up there. So I got pretty close, and I'm getting up there and getting close, and we're on green field. Perfect. I'm getting up there, and my horse kind of does this little sideways thing, but he's still pursuing. I thought, what the heck? And as I look, because it was a pretty quick little move, I looked down, just glanced down. There's these big, well, perfectly, not huge, but perfectly like gopher-sized holes, maybe even a little bigger, like a 6-inch diameter. Perfect place for a horse to put its foot, and bad things are going to happen in a high rate of speed. And I always think to that, and I thought, glad you're paying attention, horse, because if I would have just told you to stay on course, don't veer, do as I say, don't use your instincts, it would have not ended well. Going that fast, I'm swinging, and when you're swinging, you're kind of in a vulnerable spot. You're up a little bit in your seat, much like a jumper going over a jump. Maybe not quite that extreme. That's a pretty vulnerable spot to be up there. But anyway, he just little move like that. I went there, and then just at that time gave me a good spot to rope, and I got it roped. And I think about that pretty often. That's always been my philosophy, is I don't want a horse so quiet that they're dull. Quiet is not dull, and dull is not quiet. And he is not a dull horse, but in that instance, he really saved us both. I've had another instance too with another horse. Same thing. We're out there. I didn't have a rope, but we're out there going pretty fast because fast trotting. I do a lot of fast trotting. I'm going to check a fence. And sometimes, you just kind of do the rounds. You're like, all right, let's get this over with. And we're cruising along, and it's May, and the grass is up to his knees, and it's thick. It was a really good year. And that horse is trotting along, and it was like something out of the Roadrunner Coyote thing where it's, come just stop like that. Thought, and for a moment I almost thought, oh, I'm going to get after you. That's an old thought. Sometimes they still pop up, an old thought. And I just thought quickly, I was like, I see why you stopped. It's amazing. This small little tiny patch directly in his path was a little fawn. For one, I don't want to run it over. And two, he could have tripped over it, and we could have, we're going pretty fast. And I just thought, yeah, four-wheeler wouldn't done that. It would have run it right over. And it could have rolled the four-wheeler too. And that's why I was thinking, you know what? You be a horse. Be a safe horse and sane horse and a good citizen. Get to the feet, but also use your good instincts. So thanks for watching.